Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. I'm finally back in my house, back in my office to give you guys some news updates. I'm a little behind the curve. Hurricane Ian came through last week and I'm back in my place about a week after that happened. I was able to stay with some friends here in Naples as well as in Hialeah with my family. So thank you to all my friends essentially carrying us in the past few days until we got water, power, internet back here in Naples. But I'll be doing a live stream tonight to update you guys on kind of like the step by step how the hurricane affected me hour by hour, day by day, and I'm just very lucky and very fortunate. I'll just say that. It could have been catastrophic for where I live. But there's news I'm very behind on, of course, as I've pretty much been out of work for the past week. So I'm ready to talk about what's going on with Toyota specifically and their pursuit of electrification and electrified vehicles. So we're starting over at automotive news. Toyota voice of skepticism on California US EV targets. And that voice of skepticism is coming from none other than Akio Toyota himself, CEO of Toyota. He's saying that the targets for electric vehicle sales in California nationwide will be hard to achieve by 2030 or 2035. And talking about California's mandate to ban gasoline burning vehicles by 2035, Akio says, realistically speaking, it seems rather difficult to achieve that. He added that a national goal of 50% zero emission vehicles by 2030 is also extremely difficult. Long term, he sees hydrogen and hydrogen combustion being a compelling offering. In the short term, hybrids may provide the greatest good, he suggested, noting that Toyota can produce 8 plug-in hybrids with 40 miles of electric range for every 320-mile battery electric vehicle and save up to 8 times the carbon emitted into the atmosphere. And that's ultimately what this is all about. It's reducing carbon emissions. That's the goal of all these governments, automakers, and a lot of companies around the world. They want to be carbon neutral. I don't know if it'll ever happen. It's good to set goals and work towards that. And that's what Toyota seems to be doing. But with how many vehicles they produce, 10 million a year essentially, switching over to battery electric in like 10 years, going from like 0 EVs to 3.5 million is what they're projecting by 2030. It's going to be very difficult. Akio says EVs are going to take longer than the media would like us to believe. He pledged to offer the widest possible array of powertrains to propel cars cleanly. That is their strategy, and they're sticking to it. Late last year, Toyota committed $70 billion at the time to electrify its lineup by 2030. And the company plans to introduce 30 EVs by 2030, but even its large investment plans are less grand than those of General Motors, Ford Motors, etc. 30 EVs by 2030. In America, we're probably only going to see a fraction of that by 2030. The BZ4X has been pulled from our market as they are trying to fix the wheels falling off. Therefore, the stablemate, the Lexus RZ 450e. We don't know when that vehicle will be available. So currently, right now, essentially, Toyota has 0 EVs in North America. They do have the plug-in hybrids, the Prius Prime, RAV4 Prime, the Lexus variants of those essentially as well. Where we will see most of those EVs in America is going to be on the Lexus end of things. Of course, I mentioned the RZ, but you're going to have more and more electric Lexuses coming by 2030 as they plan to be fully electric in America by 2030. Toyota will have even though it's a bigger company with a bigger lineup, Toyota will have, as you can hear my kids crying, they'll have a much smaller electric lineup going by 2030 compared to Lexus. Toyota says a lack of sufficient infrastructure will hold back EV adoption rates, which is a factor in Toyota's decision not to go all in on electricity to the exclusion of hybrids, hydrogen combustion, or hydrogen fuel cells. After seeing what Hurricane Ian did in my area, the feasibility of electric cars just doesn't make a lot of sense. When catastrophes are at hand, gasoline is just a lot easier to get your hands on than electricity. When we're looking at California, they definitely don't have the infrastructure to have millions and millions of electric vehicles on their grid by 2030. It will be interesting to see how they plan on generating all this electricity and beefing up the grid to handle all that extra electricity to power battery electric vehicles. Akio says Toyota is a department store of all sorts of powertrains. It is not right for the department store to say, this is a product you should buy. And I'll take that one step further. I don't believe it's the government's role to tell you what product you should buy either. And so Toyota wants to hedge their bets. They want to be as careful as possible with how much they invest into battery electric vehicles because the future is uncertain. And they're making the small steps they need to be reducing the carbon emissions. But battery electric vehicles only is not the answer, in my opinion. But I'm going to head on over to the next article here. So there was a dealer meeting here in North America recently, within the last week or two, and I'm hearing new things. I'm hearing like maybe the Land Cruiser will be coming back to America. I'm hearing certain things about powertrains for the upcoming RAV4, or sorry, the 4Runner, but I don't have any concrete information on that. Stay tuned. I don't want to be the one to like leak stuff like that, but we'll see. Definitely take everything with a grain of salt. But this has been confirmed and it will be coming. We just don't know when. Do we know it'll come to America? I don't know. If we look at the Venza is the Harrier in Japan that will be getting a prime version or a plug-in hybrid version with the 300 or so horsepower that we see in the RAV4 Prime. This new Crown, we know it's on the K platform, and shares pretty much the same powertrains as the Lexus RX hybrids. And we will be seeing a plug-in hybrid of this eventually. That's what Akio Toyota did say during this dealer meeting. And it should be the 2.5-liter plug-in hybrid with around 40 miles of range. So that's pretty exciting for the Crown. We also have additional Crown news. Toyota Crown Signia, name of the next Crown model. Trademarks here in different parts of the world. New Zealand, for example, for the Toyota Crown Insignia. And I think somewhere in South America, Argentina, has the Insignia as well. So I say Insignia, but it's just Signia because Insignia is like a TV brand, if I remember right. So Toyota Crown Signia, what will it be? It's got to be one of the 4 models. I'll put them up on the screen for you. It's got to be one of the 4 models. It could be the rear-wheel drive sedan. It could be the battery electric vehicle, which, I mean, that'd be kind of cool, right? That sport model that they're calling. And there's also the estate version as well. That is kind of like a Subaru Outback. So it will be interesting to see what Toyota Signia Crown eventually is, but it's got to be one of those 4 models, in my opinion. Could it be the name of like the plug-in hybrid version of it, like Crown Signia, kind of like Crown Prime? That's a possibility, but you have the Prime naming here in North America for the plug-in hybrid, so Crown Prime would make sense to carry on that sort of plug-in hybrid nomenclature. Signia to me would make sense as possibly the direction they go for a fully battery electric version of the Crown. And lastly, over at the Global Toyota Room, we have a partially improved RAV4. It's a minor refresh, getting new technology with the new Toyota interface here, new screens, new MID as well. In Japan, they have this special off-road package too, which comes in a hybrid, and we're getting a variant of it as well. It's almost like this is the Woodlands edition of the RAV4, except this vehicle is not as attractive in my opinion, omitting to paint the entire front bumper here on this off-road package RAV4 in Japan. It's just laughable. I would never pay for a car that has an unfinished front bumper. The Wilderness versions come close from Subaru, and what the Subaru WRX doesn't have like a finished bumper, rear bumper. It doesn't look bad in black when I drove it, but in other colors it just looks off. Anyways, I'm gonna end it there. If you're watching this the day of the video, October 4th, I will be doing a live stream tonight to give you guys more details on the car market, how it's rebounding. It's good signs for the customer, good signs, I guess, for the automakers as well, as they're able to produce more vehicles than they have in the past year. And I'll also do my best to answer your questions on what it was like during Hurricane Ian. Got to end it there. Thank you guys. It's good to be back in the studio. I'm still not on my A game. I feel a little off. Yeah, the backyard behind me is still a complete mess because I just got in last night essentially, but I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and peace out.